Good morning, dear friends, and welcome to this module. In the previous module, we had discussed techniques for customizing aspects of our technical communication to suit the needs and expectations of the intended audience. Today, we will look into the persuasive aspects of communication. Persuasive communication relies on understanding our audience, tailoring our messages to meet their specific requirements and preferences, and skillfully presenting information in a compelling and convincing manner. Persuasion involves attempting to influence someone's actions, opinions, or decisions. It becomes important in the workplace when we have to use persuasive communication to gain support from colleagues for our ideas, seek funding, or to attract clients and sell something to the customers. Persuasion can be of two types, explicit and implicit. Explicit persuasion refers to a direct attempt to influence somebody's beliefs, attitudes, or actions by presenting argument, evidence, or even going to the extent of incorporating some emotional appeals in our communication. This is about making a clear, direct, and overt case for a particular point of view or the desired outcome. On the other hand, implicit persuasion is based on implicit cues, subtle messaging, storytelling, indirectly creating an environment that gradually nudges the individual towards a desired outcome. It involves gradually shaping the perceptions, attitudes, and behaviors without employing any direct methods for this purpose. It is essential to note that persuasion does not imply manipulation or coercion. Ethical aspects of persuasion respect autonomy and free will of individuals, allowing them to make informed choices based on correct information and arguments which are presented to them. Explicit persuasion involves making a clear and straightforward argument when, for example, presenting to the upper management your idea to gain approval for a new project or a proposal or seeking an additional budget allocation. In contrast, subliminal advertising uses hidden or subtle messages like quick flashes or subtle cues in advertisements or promotional materials to impact the consumer's subconscious mind and evoke specific emotions or desires in the audience. The claims can be about what the facts are, about what the facts mean to us or to the other, or claims about what should be done. The claims are statements that assert or declare a particular proposition, belief, or point of view. They are the central arguments or the main points somebody uses in order to prove or support a particular perspective. They can be made in various contexts as a part of discussion or debate, as a part of writing, as a part of persuasive strategies through different types of advertisements, etc. In persuasive communication, which is also a particular type of argumentative writing, claims serve as the main points that are supported by evidence, reasoning, and appeals to persuade the audience to accept the validity of the claim which is being presented to them. Even when a fact seems obvious, people can have different interpretations of its meaning or may vary in opinion about what actions should be taken based on the available information. When composing arguments and claims, it is essential to have a clear understanding of the desired outcome, substantiated by well crafted supporting evidence. Arguments can exhibit diverse degree of audience engagement. Let us explore various objectives or levels of audience involvement within arguments. Certain specific goals are listed on this slide. They are influencing the opinion of the people and enlisting support for our own ideas. Certain arguments aim to change the thinking of the readers or the audience and want to persuade them to agree with a specific perspective or point of view. This type of persuasion requires minimal involvement from the audience beyond a shift in their thinking. On the other hand, when we try to enlist the support, we find that these arguments should aim to get readers actively involved and should create a willingness to help for the purpose. Influencing opinion may be the first step in enlisting support, as changing people's perspectives often precedes their active involvement in any issue. While influencing opinion focuses on changing thoughts or beliefs, enlisting support seeks to galvanize individuals into taking concrete actions. The choice between these goals depends on the desired outcome and the level of engagement and commitment required. When we are talking in the context of submitting a proposal, the focus is on presenting a plan or a solution to a problem with a specific course of action to address an issue or achieve a desired outcome. These arguments typically require audiences to act directly or approve a particular action. When the goal is to influence the behavior of the audience, to change it to a certain manner, to align with the desired outcome, or to improve a situation by asking them to change their actions, beliefs, and ways of doing things, then it also requires a more personal approach, as individuals may resist changing their established behaviors. It is worth noting that persuading individuals to change their behaviors can be a more intimate and therefore a potentially challenging endeavor, as people often resist changing their established routines. And therefore, in effective persuasion, we must employ strategies that resonate personally and encourage positive adjustments. We also must be careful of the fact that individual responses vary based on factors such as personal beliefs, value systems, their prior knowledge about the topic, and also the emotional state they might be in at a given moment of time. And therefore, predicting the reaction of the audience remains to be a complex task. To effectively anticipate potential reactions, it is necessary to gather information about your audience and the organization you are addressing. This includes understanding if your supervisor or manager will support you and if there are support systems in place within the organization which would do a backup of your efforts. Conducting pilot testing or small scale communication trials with a subset of your intended audience also allows you to assess the reactions and refine them before reaching a larger group of audience. Seeking feedback from a representative sample of the audience or individuals who are familiar with their characteristics and preferences can also help us in understanding the likely reactions, and it also allows us to make necessary adjustments to the message. Individuals who have not yet formed a firm opinion or decision are more likely to be receptive to persuasive influence. People normally seek the opinions of other people, seek experiences of others, and evidence to help them to make up their mind about any issue. However, once people have made up their minds, they tend to assume that they are right and often therefore resist changing their views even when presented with solid evidence to the contrary. In digital communication, we should also be sensitive to the audience resistance. Audience resistance refers to the reluctance or opposition that individuals or groups may exhibit towards accepting or embracing a particular message, idea, or argument. What is known as confirmation bias or cognitive dissonance suggests that there is a tendency amongst individuals to seek, interpret, and favor information that confirms their pre existing beliefs, values, and expectations. At the same time, because of these biases, there is a disregard or a tendency to downplay contradictory evidence, justifying or rationalizing their negative choices. It is a cognitive bias that can influence decision making and the processing of information at the level of the audience. Engaging in constructive dialogue and seeking out multiple sources of information can help us in mitigating the effects of the confirmation bias. Persuading individuals to consider alternative perspectives requires getting them to admit that they might be wrong, and it can be challenging. However, by acknowledging and addressing audience resistance, communicators can increase the chances of successfully persuading and engaging their audience. It can manifest in various forms such as skepticism, disagreement, or a simple lack of interest. It would be pertinent at this point to refer to the social influence theory propounded by Herbert Gilman in his 1958 work. He has suggested three processes of influence, namely compliance, identification, and internalization. They can be further described through a function that involves three determinants, that is, the relative importance of the anticipated effect, secondly, the relative power of the influencing agent, and thirdly, the prepotency of the induced response. However, these determinants differ qualitatively for each process, giving rise to distinct antecedent conditions. Furthermore, each process results in a unique set of consequent conditions. Let us explore these three social influence processes more comprehensively. Compliance refers to accepting the influence and adopting a particular behavior to gain rewards or approvals while avoiding punishments or disapprovals. It occurs when individuals go along with an appeal or request because they like and believe the persons appealing want to be liked by them and feel a sense of commonality or connection. The satisfaction derived from compliance stems from the social impact of accepting influence and maintaining positive social relationships. For example, this is the attitude which is showcased in this sentence: I am yielding to your demand to get a reward or to avoid punishment. I don't accept it, but I feel pressured, so I'll go along to get along. Compliance does not necessarily indicate a genuine change in one's attitudes or beliefs. It is primarily only a behavioral response which is influenced by external factors. Still, compliance can be a powerful form of influence, particularly in social settings and hierarchical structures where individuals may feel obligated or pressured to conform. Understanding the factors that drive compliance can help individuals and organizations effectively utilize persuasive techniques, manage social dynamics, and achieve desired outcomes. Identification as a process of influence occurs when individuals adopt a particular behavior to establish or maintain a desired and beneficial relationship with other person or group. Individuals experience a sense of alignment and connection with the influencing agent or group, which contributes to positive social relationships and a sense of belonging. Individuals seek to create or strengthen a bond with others by adopting the induced behavior, and they want to gain acceptance and validation within the desired social context. For example, I'm going along with your appeal because I like and believe you. I want you to like me, and I feel we have something in common. The act of confirming itself is seen as satisfying and valuable as it helps individuals establish or reinforce a sense of connection and belonging. In this process, the emphasis is not solely on rewards or punishments, as in compliance, but on the desire to create or maintain a positive relationship with the influencing agent or group. As a process of influence, internalization occurs when individuals accept and adopt a particular behavior after perceiving it as rewarding and congruent with their own value system. It is characterized by a deeper level of acceptance and integration of the induced behavior into one's own identity and self concept. It represents a lasting and meaningful change in attitudes and behaviors as individuals see the induced behavior as intrinsically rewarding and aligned with the core values. For example, I am yielding because what you are suggesting makes good sense and it fits my goals and values. The acceptance of the induced behavior is not solely driven by external rewards or social pressures, but rather by a genuine recognition that the behavior is in line with their own value system. Here we can look at certain examples of different types of social influence. For example, compliance may lead to dressing formally to adopt our clothing choices to suit professional norms. Identification may result in laughing at jokes even if you do not understand, since the rest of the group is also laughing. Internalization may result into buying the similar type of things, for example, like a sneaker brand, because it is popular among your peers and you want to internalize their behavior. Persuasive individuals possess the ability to recognize and employ different strategies based on the situation. They understand when to straightforwardly state their desires, when to build relationships, when to appeal to reason and common sense for that matter, or when to use a combination of these approaches. This discussion brings us to look at the connection theory. The strategy involves asserting one's desires or objectives directly and assertively. The power connection emphasizes clear communication and directness in expressing one's intentions. In such a relationship or interaction, one party holds a position of authority, control, and influence and dominance over the other party. The communicators may utilize their power, expertise, or credibility, or being in a power position in order to persuade others to align with their viewpoint or to take a specific course of action. While the power connection approach can be effective in certain situations, it is important to use it ethically and with a sense of complete responsibility. It is crucial to ensure that the autonomy and individual perspectives are respected. For instance, supervisors, managers, and executives often use their positions of authority to make decisions that affect the entire team, office, or department. This can include decisions related to workflow processes, resource allocation, and strategic direction. However, building trust and maintaining positive relationships with co workers is crucial when applying the power connection approach in the workplace. Another aspect of it is known as relationship connection. Building relationships and establishing rapport in friendship with others is key to this strategy, which prioritizes aligning their interests with others to gain support and cooperation. Through this approach, the communicator encourages the audience to actively participate in the conversation, share their perspectives, and contribute their thoughts and experiences. The communicator may pose questions, provide opportunities for feedback or discussion, or create a collaborative environment where the audience feels comfortable expressing their opinions. Crucially, the relationship connection approach respects the autonomy of the readers, the reader or the audience, by allowing them to make their own choices and decisions. Instead of imposing a specific point of view or demanding unquestioning compliance, the communicator recognizes the audience as independent thinkers capable of forming their own conclusions. On social media platforms, individuals and brands use relationship building strategies to connect with their followers. They respond to comments and messages, engage in conversations, and show genuine interest in the opinions of their audience. Even in automated customer support interactions, chatbots can employ relationship building tactics like empathetic language, offering solutions and providing helpful information. On the other hand, the rational connection approach often involves presenting credible and authoritative evidence to support the arguments or claims. Some methods employed in such connection include consequence analysis and Socratic questioning method. Consequence analysis occurs when communicators may outline potential outcomes of choices, aiding audience understanding. Socratic questioning prompts critical thinking, encouraging self discovery for deeper understanding. It provides alternatives as a strategic approach whereby the communicator demonstrates flexibility and promotes a sense of choice and autonomy for the readers. Offering a compromise can be an effective middle ground where the communicator acknowledges the audience's concerns and is willing to work towards a resolution that satisfies multiple parties. Incentives can also be used as persuasive tools to motivate readers to take a desired action or adopt a particular perspective. These three strategies of connection can be employed individually or in combination depending on the context and the audience. Effective persuaders have the skill to adapt their approach and choose the most appropriate strategy or a combination of them to achieve their persuasive goals. But in the context of professional communication, digital and offline communication also, we find that there are certain constraints on our persuasive strategies. The organizational constraints refer to the rules and regulations of the company, the guidelines and procedures established by the company. It is crucial to adhere to these stated as well as unstated constraints to maintain positive work relationships and avoid potential conflicts. Understanding various communication channels, efficacy of appropriate timing, and an understanding about the key people who might be involved is essential in overcoming organizational constraints. Ethical constraints go beyond organizational constraints or legal requirements. They involve honesty, a sense of fairness, and considerations for ethical behavior. Adhering to ethical constraints promotes personal and professional growth as it requires individuals to reflect on their values, examine their own belief system, and, and make choices aligned with their moral principles. These constraints are necessary to promote treatment, a respect for human rights, and avoidance of discrimination or biases against people. Organizational constraints provide structure, compliance, efficiency, and they also promote collaboration. Adhering to these constraints improves efficiency and goal achievement, whereas ethical constraints establish responsible behavior, guiding choices that align with values and benefit society, fostering a long term success. Time constraints refer to the deadlines, limitations, or pressures which the available time imposes while engaging in persuasive communication. The timing of persuasive communication can also significantly impact the effectiveness. Strategies such as concise and targeted messaging, providing key information upfront, and allowing for follow up interactions can help overcome time related constraints. Social and psychological constraints refer to the factors related to social dynamics and individual psychology that can influence how communication is received and interpreted. A well structured argument is a carefully organized and coherent presentation of ideas or claims aimed at persuading others. It follows a logical and effective structure to effectively convey the messages and convince the audience. Now that we have examined the various constraints and elements of persuasion, let us also explore the methods for crafting a well structured argument. One of the tested methods is sharing an argument. Appealing and identifying common goals and values is essential in persuasive communication as it helps create a consensus and understanding. Cultural differences in styles, tolerance for debate, tolerance for different tones, relationship building, and the importance of evidence and logic, as well as the value of disagreement, should be considered. Convincing evidence is crucial in making arguments more convincing and credible. Your arguments must be strong, specific, novel, unique, and above all, verifiable, and they should directly relate to the argument's specific point. Up to date information is also vital for its relevance, whereas reproducibility enhances validity and reliability. I Have a Dream by Martin Luther King Jr. is a highly influential and powerful speech known for its effective persuasive techniques. Key features of the speech include the use of rhetoric to captivate the audience, appeals to shared values, emotional resonance, credibility, authority, inclusive language, vision, and above all, hope and a strong call to action. These elements combined to create a persuasive argument that inspired millions of people to join the civil rights movement and drive significant social change in contemporary society. When we talk of different types of evidences, they may be in the form of facts and they may also be in the form of statistical data. Factual evidence refers to concrete and verifiable information that supports our argument and claim. By being selective, one can choose the most relevant and compelling facts, ensuring that the argument is solid, persuasive, and also argumentative. When presenting factual evidence, it is important to ensure the accuracy and relevance of the facts. The inclusion of statistical data is an important aspect in persuasion as it provides numerical evidence that can be highly convincing to the readers. When using statistics, it is important to focus on key figures such as cost, saving, losses, and profits, as these are often the bottom line concerns for many individuals. This statistics should also be presented in a visual manner whenever it is possible for us to do. Properly citing and referring credible sources such as academic journals, books, or reputable websites can provide factual evidence. Quoting or paraphrasing information from these sources adds credibility and demonstrates that the information is supported by reliable research or expertise. Statistical data allows for comparisons and benchmarking across different groups, regions, or time periods, etc. It helps us in analyzing a common framework for evaluating performance, measuring progress, and also for identifying disparities and differences. These comparisons can highlight best practices, areas of success, and areas that need attention or improvement. Expert testimony also holds significant weight in persuasion as it adds authority and credibility to a claim, particularly when it is seen that the expert opinion is unbiased and the expert is recognized by people for one's unbiased approach, it can enhance the persuasiveness of an argument. However, it is important to note that in contentious cases, opposing sides may present their own experts. And to determine the credibility of an expert, factors such as recognition by the highest level of professional society, degrees from reputable educational institutions, one's professional background, etc., are considered as important. Experts often have their work and opinions subjected to rigorous peer review, and validation processes within their respected fields. This ensures that their expertise is reliable and based on established principles, methodologies, and research. Moreover, experts are skilled at communicating complex ideas in a way that is accessible and understandable to a broader audience. Digital persuasion encompasses various modes and techniques to influence or convince the audience in an online way. Search engine optimizing digital content for search engines to increase visibility and reach. Appearing in top search results can persuade users to click on a website or a web page. Displaying social proof elements such as customer reviews, ratings, testimonials, or user generated content to persuade visitors that others have had positive experiences earlier. Incorporating game like elements, rewards, and challenges into digital experience to engage users also motivates them to have a better trust. Conducting experiments on digital assets such as websites and landing pages to identify the most persuasive variations and optimize for conversions is also a useful technique. These modes of digital persuasion are often used in combination to create comprehensive digital marketing and communication strategies. They are used to effectively influence and engage online audience. The choice of mode depends on the specific goals, target audience, and context. The following video provides additional insights into various facets of digital persuasion, including web analytics, social listening, influence, and sharing analysis.
Web analytics is the measurement, collection, analysis, and reporting of web data to understand and optimize web usage. It is information about the number of visitors to a website and the number of page views. And it gauges traffic and popularity trends. Another tool is social listening. Social listening is the process of understanding the online conversation about a company or brand, as well as its products and services. Social listening tools can help companies gather and analyze customer data from a variety of social media and online review platforms in order to use the data to improve marketing, operational, and business metrics. Social listening will also help you to identify influencers in your industry. Why are these important? 1. Most consumers rely on social media to guide their decisions to move forward with the purchase of a product or service. 2. Consumers are more likely to trust peer reviews rather than advertisements. Influence analysis. Digital influence is the ability to create an effect, change opinions and behaviors, and drive measurable outcomes online. Things to remember. Don't measure influence. Measure the outcomes. This obviously requires you know your goals and realize what word of mouth means for your business. Reach is a measure of potential impact, not a goal as such. Relevance is key, always. In fact, it's the glue of relationships on the social web and thus of word of mouth and influence. Define metrics and KPIs in alignment with your goals. Examples: sales or referrals, brand lift. Make sure you know the impact of brand awareness on your business as well, if you want to measure all the way. Develop a plan of action with the following 3 key components: 1. Objectives, 2. Steps, and 3. Elements that require definition. Another tool is sharing analysis. Sharing analysis are tools specifically dedicated to tracking share activity of content across digital platforms. Unlike advertisements or other marketing assets, social shares is an organic form of promotion generated by the public. Consumers share products, blog posts, and inspirational images because they want to. When social connections, including friends, family, and coworkers, see shared content, it resonates more than a message displayed directly by a business.
In conclusion, it can be said that persuading an audience requires a thoughtful and strategic approach that considers the audience's needs, values, and preferences. Effective persuasion involves clear communication, credible evidence, and the use of various persuasive techniques and modes. Building trust and rapport, providing relevant and compelling content, and fostering a sense of connection are essential elements in influencing an audience's attitude, behavior, and decisions. Ultimately, successful persuasion hinges on understanding the audience, tailoring the message, and creating a compelling narrative that resonates with their interests and motivations. In the next module, we will look into the topics of teamwork and global factors that should be considered in the context of technical and digital communication in today's environment. Thank you.